let's talk about what happens when there's a not right fit client. I don't like the word fired because I think there's ego tied to that. Of like, I fired them. We just call it transitioning. Like, hey, maybe this partnership wasn't meant to be in the first place. No fault, but let's just maybe you need to go somewhere else that's a better fit for you. And we're going to hold the line of who's a fit for us. And we don't believe this to be the right partnership. How do you navigate that on the ops side? Because I'm sure you've had a few of those, maybe some of those early clients that weren't the best long-term fit.
Yeah, it's, and I would say we do a really good job with that here in our first meeting, having that conversation as we're trying to see if there's any connection. We call it the connection meeting. Is there a connection here? And the guys, if they're not vibing with the client or the client just doesn't seem open-minded, they'll have no problem not really forcing the second meeting. They'll just be like, you know what, we're good. So it's like we don't push the second meeting, I should say, if we don't need to. But I think they do a good job in their verbiage, and I think we do a good job training. Chase on our team, he's been on the advisory solutions team. He's now becoming a producing advisor, which is so exciting to watch. And I even saw him doing it the other day. He had someone come in and they were just like wild, and he's like, I just don't know it's going to be a good fit. And he kind of just like, he identified it, and so we're all talking that language, but there have been times, I have one instance that I'm thinking of that Derek had a client that was just talking poorly to Laura on his team, whether it be through email or on the phone, just a little aggressive, and he called him out on it and said, we don't treat our team like that. So if it's not a good fit, we have no problem parting ways. That's like our language. Transitioning is a great language too that you just mentioned, but we have no problem saying that. It has to be a good fit. We just had a boat cruise on Tuesday night this week in Boston. We rented a big boat and had 200 clients on it. Our top clients, just to thank them. And it's funny, the feedback we've been getting is great. But one woman, I think she's on Derek's team, she's a client of ours, wrote to us yesterday and said, sorry for the delay. I just want to let you know we had the best time. And I saw all of my friends on the boat that I've met at previous experiences. So the fact that we're building this community of clients that are friends with clients and team members, like we just can't let that impact that culture that we have with our internal and external culture, so we have to have those conversations. It's just very important to us. Our clients are like family to us, they're like my grandparents or whatever, they're just family. So we just don't allow it. And luckily we don't have a lot of it, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
I think because the language in the first appointment, it really, solidifies. Keith had somebody come in recently from Cape Cod who was just a very stern person in the first meeting, didn't really push it. And Keith just kept going. And then he's just like, I don't want to work with them. So like, he'll choose not to follow up as much as he might with another first appointment or something, but that's very important to us.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things there that you hit. First off, back to your team. One of the learnings that I've had over a few years now in business is if, as a founder or as an executive at SHP, if you actually move the client above the team, you will not keep and retain great talent, because that's really easy to see. I mean, I remember one time that I'm like, honestly, like probably a little still scarred from, where I was asked like, hey, what's my opinion on this client? I'm like, not a good fit. And I had many real examples, not emotional examples, but like X, Y, Z, not a good fit. And I remember my leadership at the time was like, well, we're going to bring him on anyway. And then immediately I knew where I stood on the priority stack, right? And there was a choice of revenue over team and the people that help you actually serve the client. And I believe it to be very true that team should always come above client. Not that we shouldn't have a heart to serve client and take care of them and follow through on our promises. But if we don't have a great team, we can't deliver on serving the client, right? And so if you mix that around, you're not going to have a great team, because they're going to know like, well, what I say here doesn't matter, or, I'm not like poured into, and there's like higher priorities on the list than me. And so I love that stance of like standing for your team. I think that's huge. The second one that I love that you hit is how now, and by the way, let's get to the referrals, because this is really fun. These two tie together. You've got a community you've created of clients that you're serving at a high level. So you're following through on those promises, and they're good humans that you want to create fun experiences for, like Harbor Cruises. And I know you guys do a ton of different things to pour to your clients. And now your clients are like, these are some of the best relationships I have as other SHP clients. And guess what leads to referrals? Do people talk about that? What percentage of your business last year came from referrals?
Yeah, 32% last year. And I would say we're on target. Right now we're at 33 as of Q2, and I'm about to close Q3. I'm confident it will be in the 40s, if not even more. I mean, it's just insane. We had a client right to yesterday too. Mallory talked to Mallory and said, everybody on this boat, like they're all happy. They're just all happy people. And it's like, we do business with happy people. We want to be with people that we want to be with.
And by the way, that's fun.
It's fun.
We're on a podcast called Do Business, Do Life. That's really fun when those two come together. So what was your actual number? So we're recording in 2023. 2022, what was the total assets that the firm gathered?
Yeah, we had 255, I believe, 255.
So 81.6 mil-ish last year came from referrals. And I know you also drove a ton of business from existing clients too that, had more money come in, 401ks rolling over, all that sort of stuff. And so I think oftentimes we forget in this business, obviously we're in a very marketing driven business. You forget if you just love on your clients and actually follow through on the stuff you say you're going to do and serve them at a high level, your clients become your own marketing. So I love that.